What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a banger of a video. Very few of you guys ever knew that this video existed, but we're remastering one of our oldest and greatest stories that got taken down almost 5 years ago now. This video was originally uploaded in 2015 and only got just 10,000 views. We're remastering it for you guys today because the vast majority of you have never heard this. This is the story of the first dab I ever took, as well as the story of how I met Cody, who today is now my roommate and we're very good friends. This is a banger, you guys don't want to miss it, but first, let's take a moment for our sponsor. This video is sponsored by me. Go to my merch site and grab some brand new merch at goblin420.com today. With tons of new designs, you can't go wrong, baby. Hey, look at the Fire November drop. Head over to goblin420.com and every single purchase gets a personalized audio message. Now let's dive right into the video. So this happened a very long time ago. I'm talking like summer 2015. This was before my junior year of high school. This is probably one of the oldest stories on this channel, hence why it was uploaded so long ago. On this particular day, I woke up and I hit up my boy Bobby. Bob's a very common character in some of my older videos. We used to hang out almost every day in high school. I hit up Bob and I go pick him up, and typically our day-to-day routine was we get together, we'd drink a little bit, we'd smoke, and we'd try to find someone whose parents weren't home so we could go get drunk and smoke at their house. That's exactly how today played out. I went and I picked up Bob, and we're sitting in the car trying to figure out what to do, and we didn't really have any weed on us. However, we had quite a lot of friends that wanted to get together. Back then, I had a much bigger friend group than I do nowadays, so there was probably a total of 6 or 7 of us that were all trying to get together and smoke. The problem was we had nowhere to go. Now, I had never met Cody at this point. I didn't know who he was, I didn't know his brother, or anything about him. But my buddy, who we're going to call Ernie, we were talking in our group chat, and he brings up that we could go to Cody's house and grab some weed while we're there. I don't know who Cody is, but Ernie's already on his way there, so I'm like, bet, dude, let's go over to this dude's house. So me and Bob were riding in my old car, which I nicknamed the house because I lived in it for a week, but that was a different story. But we ride over to Cody's house, and, once we get there, it's pretty chill. He's got his garage cracked open. You see Cody standing in there, his older brother standing in there, and he's got a nice little setup. He's got a few couches in there. He's got a TV with a PlayStation running, so I'm like, yo, this is the fucking spot, dude. Like, this is sick. So we go in the garage, I walk up, and immediately I'm greeted by Cody and his brother, right? His brother's name is Chris. So Chris is the nickname I used to use for Cody because I didn't use Cody's real name until you guys actually met Cody in a few videos and streams. Now I just use his real name because it doesn't fucking matter. But either way, I used to use his brother's name as his nickname, but his brother's real name is Chris. So I get in there, I introduce myself to Chris, and Chris is a very big guy, right? He's super tall. This guy's like 6'5" or some shit. So he's like towering over me. He's got all these fucking tattoos. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's going to sell us some fire fucking weed, isn't he? Like for sure. So we all sit down, and gradually as we get there, I've got more friends pulling up. We got Eric coming. We got Alec coming. Like I said, there was a good 6 of us all trying to find a spot. And Cody was cool with having us all over. So we get there, and we're sitting around the table a little bit, and we're kind of trying to figure out what to do. We're waiting for Chris to go grab us some weed. We pooled together a little bit of money, and we bought ourselves maybe like a quad among all of us. We each threw down like maybe $10. We did not have a ton of money, but it was enough weed for all of us to get high for the day. Now, he not only had that flower, he also had some wax, which of course we're jumping at, right? At this point, I'd never taken a dab, but a lot of my friends had, and at this time, dabs were not super easy to come by in our circle. We didn't know a lot of people who were selling concentrate, and this was way before weed was legal here, way before there was any of the crazy live resin or shit like that. If you bought concentrate around us when we were in high school, it was that dookie shatter. It was that poo-poo on parchment paper, and that's exactly what it was. So we bought this gram of wax for I don't know how much money it cost, and I didn't throw down for any of it. I didn't throw for the wax part, but I did throw for a little bit of weed. So now we're sitting and we've got some weed and we've got some wax, and we start rolling up, right? we're rolling up a few blunts, we're matching, and we're all having a good time. I'm kind of meeting Cody, talking to him. I'm like, oh, like, where, like, oh, like, have you grown up around here? Like, what school you go to, all that kind of shit. And he had a lot of mutual friends of mine. It turns out that he's grown up in the area a lot, so we kind of got along pretty well. It's like, oh, you know him, I know him, that kind of thing. So we're chatting a little bit, we're getting along. And finally, after we roll up these blunts, we spark them up. Now, mind you, this is like an 8 or 9 person fucking roto, but like that's just how it was in high school, dude. You get like 5 puffs off the blunt maybe, and that's the blunt, So we're smoking these things and I'm hitting them, but once again, it's high school me, and I had started smoking fairly recently at this point, so I still got stoned as fuck. Even off these 2 or 3 blunts on like 9 heads, I was still feeling just fine, right? I was feeling great. So we smoke these blunts, we get these out of the way. And now we're just chilling out in his garage for a little bit. We're taking turns playing on the PlayStation, chatting it up. And we decide, well, not we decide, I shouldn't say we. Eric is the one who decided that we should take a dab. Now, none of us had a rig. I didn't know if Chris or Cody had a rig, but I knew that none of us had a rig. And it turns out that Chris and Cody did not have a rig either. But we did a little bit of stoner engineering. We got a bit creative and decided that we weren't going to hot knife it. We were going to hot plate it. Now, this is the worst idea ever. I don't know why we did this. We never did this again. And looking back, we wasted probably a good 50% of this dab, if not more. But we came up with an idea that we thought was brilliant. Our plan to take a dab was we were going to drop it on the hot plate and then take a plastic straw and hold it over the hot plate and just inhale the smoke through it. Now, originally, we were just going to do like a small dab, and by we, I mean Eric, but eventually, we all kind of, peer pressured, egged him on a little bit, like, come on, Eric, drop the whole dab, dude, get us all stoned, and Eric folded. So we decided that we were going to drop the entire gram of wax on top of this hot plate and all sit around it with plastic straws and lean over it and inhale to get the dab. Now, I'd never taken a dab at this point before, so I saw nothing wrong with this. I didn't even think of potentially like, yo, could we hot knife this? Yo, could we maybe like just go buy a fucking banger? I'd never taken a dab, so I was mad excited. I remember I'm talking to Bob and I'm like, bro, I've never dabbed. Like, what is this gonna be like? And he's like, dude, I remember he just pats me on the shoulder. He's like, you're about to go to fucking Jupiter. So I'm excited at this point. I'm like, bet. Because I'm still at the point where just smoking a blunt or two will get me off my fucking rocker. Like I mentioned earlier, I was fairly new to smoking still at this point. This was summer 2015, and I smoked for the first time in like December of 2014. So I was very, very new to smoking, but it had just recently become a daily habit to me. So of course, I'm amped up. I'm ready to rumble. We all set up this hot plate. Cody brings it out from the house and he sets it on the table, and we all pull up seats around the table, and there's not necessarily actual chairs for us to sit on, but we're sitting on like storage totes. We got some people just leaning over the table. We got a couple people who were lucky enough to get the rolling chairs in the garage, but at this point we're all circled around the table, minus Cody's brother. Chris wanted no part in these shenanigans, which I don't blame him. So we're sitting around this hot plate, and Cody turns the hot plate on, and we've got this gram of dookie shatter. I'm talking like terrible. I remember this shatter really well. I don't know if it's just because it was my first time, but I could picture it right now. It was such a gross shade of brown. It was not like a dark gold. Let's not be generous here. No. It was like a slightly see-through shit. It did not look good, but I didn't know shit about dabs at this point. I thought that's how they were supposed to look. So I'm like, oh, dude, looks kind of funny, but cool, as long as it gets me stoned, right? So at this point, we're just waiting for the hot plate to get super hot. There is no temperature gauge here. There's no, like, terp timer. This is just us saying, okay, let's incinerate this fucking dab and inhale it. So that's what we did. We each get a plastic straw, which for some reason Cody had a bunch of, and we sit around this hot plate and wait for it to get hot enough. We rolled this little dab into a snake, which we did our best, but it was a bit hard to roll into a snake. It kind of snapped at a few points, so we really had to like make some love to it with our hands to roll it up, right? But finally, Eric gets it rolled into a snake, and he asks us if we're all ready. We all stand up a little bit and lean over this plate with our straws. and Eric drops the whole gram at once just directly onto the plate. He didn't just lower the snake a little bit. I don't even know why the fuck he rolled it into a snake. The dude just dumps it on the plate. So we all start inhaling as hard as we can because there's smoke just exploding around us. It's like we dropped a fucking smoke grenade on this hot plate. We're all leaning over and trying to inhale, and none of us realized it at first, but the heat of the hot plate was melting our straws at the end. So there's a very good chance that all of us might be getting early Alzheimer's or something like that, because I'm fairly confident that a good 25 to 50% of the smoke I got was just plastic fumes. It tasted horrible. It didn't just taste like bad wax. I 100% tasted my plastic straw. I think I may have arguably even smoked more straw in terms of weight than I did concentrate that day, which was kind of fucked up when you think about it. That might be why I'm so fucked today in the head. But we're not going to worry about that for another 30 years when the Alzheimer's hits. So I'm inhaling and I'm ripping. And at this point, there's like almost no smoke left, but we're all like fighting for our smoke. We're all fighting for our fucking rights on this shit, dude. We're fighting for our piece of the pie. It's like Darwinism on this hot plate. Natural selection for who gets the most smoke, right? We're all inhaling our fucking lungs out, getting all the plastic fumes we can get. And finally, there's no more fumes left for us to inhale. And we sit back down and we chill out for a minute. Now, despite probably not getting very much of the smoke, I was absolutely fucking floored by this dab. Maybe the head rush I got initially was from the plastic fumes, but I was still stoned out of my mind. I remember this high so vividly because it just plastered me. Dabs were a delicacy in high school. They were kind of like the caviar of weed when I was young, because people never had them. And after getting my first taste of them, I fucking wanted more. I sat back on Cody's couch and I remember a lot of my other friends left before us, but Bob and I, we stayed and hung out for a bit because I was so stoned I didn't want to get up. So I started kind of chatting with Cody a little bit, you know, getting to know him a little better because we're all stoned as fuck at this point. We're playing some Call of Duty on PlayStation together in his garage. We're chilling out, and I'm fucking plastered. I'm so high that I stayed on that couch nearly the whole time. The TV wasn't even facing the couch. I was at like a side angle playing Call of Duty. I just didn't want to fucking move. Once I got out of my chair at the table and sat on the couch, I was done. That was my homeland for the next like 2 or 3 hours. I was sitting there posted, but I was chilling. And I met Cody that day. And as, you know, I'm chatting with Cody, I'm also talking to his brother Chris. And his brother Chris is telling me like, oh yeah, you know, if you ever need some weed or something, you can come back through. So I get Cody on Snapchat, you know, and that's kind of how we started hanging out. After that day, I just remembered how good the weed was that his brother had sold us, and how his brother had dabs, and I started hitting him up to hang out every now and then, and it became more and more frequent over time. And that's the story of my first dab, and also how I met my current roommate and common character in my stories, Cody. Hope you guys enjoyed this story remaster. This was originally uploaded in 2015 and made private in 2016, so since so few of you got to see it, I figured I would come back, remaster it for all of you guys to enjoy. Hope you guys liked the video. Drop a like if you did. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.